to hit my mother. And in all fairness, I warned her. I said, if you touch my collar one more time. But she couldn't stop herself. She was adjusting my collar, and I swatted her. You know, we were both kind of shocked, stunned, looked at each other. It was my first day of high school, and we were outside at the Bryn Mawr train station. And we were waiting for a taxi to come pick me up to take me to high school. And we were waiting for that taxi to take me to Notre Dame Academy in Villanova, because I, with my mother, lived in South Philadelphia. And I was going to now have a commute from South Philly out to Villanova every day for high school. And the reason that this happened was because my mother was forcing me to go to this high school, because I got a little scholarship, and I just took a lot of the tests to humor her for all the little private high schools around, but I wanted to go to my local parochial girls' high school, which was St. Maria Goretti in South Philly. I wanted to be a Goretti gorilla. I was very anxious to be a Goretti gorilla and have my key around my string and twirl my locker key and talk like this and chew gum and walk down 10th Street where I could go home, because I lived on 9th and Jackson. That's where I grew up. So I was anticipating that for my high school, and I got a little scholarship to Notre Dame Academy. And all of a sudden, my mother was like, this is a sign from your grandmother that you need to go to this school. And my grandmother had just passed away a few months before. I lived with my grandmother in the same home in South Philly, in a row home, and she passed away in our house. And I was young and impressionable. She was one of my first relatives that was close to me who passed away. And I said, you know, I didn't realize that dead Italian grandmothers participated in financial aid, but okay, I guess I got this scholarship, so now I had to go. So I made a deal with my mother, because I was miserable. I mean, I was 14 and I cried, and I tried everything to get out of it. And we made a deal that 1 year, she would give me 1 year. I said, I will go to this school for 1 year. If I don't like it, I can go to Goretti afterwards. And she said, okay, give me 1 year. So there we were at the Bryn Mawr train station waiting for this taxi to pick us up, because she came with me to school the first day. And I had my kilt, my ugly, disgusting plaid green kilt that came down to my knees. And I wanted my Goretti jumper, but I had this plaid kilt that I was like so embarrassed to walk around South Philly, walking back to my house with this kilt on that nobody else wore in my neighborhood. And there we were. We take the cab to the school, and it was like I was on another planet. I had never seen so much blonde hair in my entire life. I was like, what am I? My hair, it was I should say this too, it was 1985. So my hair, I had a perm, of course, in South Philly especially, and my hair was, about this high. And, it was like, the higher the better. I was teasing it up as much as I could that morning, the Aquanet and everything. And I got there, and everybody had flat hair, and they were like, oh my God, this is like so cool. Like, I love this area, and this school's like so awesome. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing this weekend? And I was like, what the frig are these girls talking about right now? Because I have no idea what they're even saying. Like, I went there talking like this and talking like that, and it was like we were speaking a different language. And I thought, I am never, ever going to make it here. I am miserable. All the girls had their skirts hiked up. I didn't know that you hike up your skirt, in these private schools. My skirt was down to my knees. My knee socks were pulled up to my knees. I had brown shoes on. I looked like a freak. I was like, where am I? And gradually I made a couple of friends who were also kind of on the outskirts. They weren't like mainline girls. We had like kind of gravitated toward each other, like a couple of us that had won some scholarships or, were kind of like nerdy and stuff, and they wound up being kind of from Delco, a lot of the girls that I gravitated towards. So I was the only girl from South Philly, but they took to me and I took to them, and I heard about these things called Bonner mixers. And I was like, what the frig is a mixer? Nobody has a mixer in South Philly. I don't know what that is. I thought it was a drink maybe or something. But so we started going to these mixers. And Saturday night, there I was. My mom drove me from South Philly, drove through Cobbs Creek. She wouldn't take the expressway. So we had this like long way through Lansdowne and Cobbs Creek to get to the Bonner mixers. And Saturday nights, there I was standing there, and it kind of, smelled like sweaty teenagers, and it was loud, and there's a DJ. Very simple, though. I mean, again, this was in the mid-'80s. It wasn't, there weren't a lot of fights afterwards. Maybe they were. I didn't stick around to find out. I was heading back to South Philly. But, I walked in, and it was like I heard music that I hadn't heard before. I grew up on Michael Jackson, and club music, and here I was walking into Bonner and hearing, the Hooters, and we danced, and I eventually got a pair of aqua blue Converse high tops and a jean jacket, I was like slightly more suburban, and I danced, and we listened to Cyndi Lauper and Living on a Prayer, we go crazy. And I had never heard Led Zeppelin. I never heard Stairway to Heaven before. And The Who, and we were jamming to Teenage Wasteland. We're just pounding our feet. I was jamming with my Converse high tops. I was killing my shoes, and I was sweating through my jean jacket. And I was angry that my grandmother passed away. And I was angry that I was at the school, and we were all angry together. And we were dancing as Cyndi Lauper, girls just want to have fun. And we were having fun. And I stayed for all 4 years because I had my Delco crew, and I had those Bonner mixers, which saved me. So my gratitude to Delco from South Philly. Now I live in Drexel Hill, walking distance from Maggie O'Neill's, and I am a Delco person now.